It was a Wednesday afternoon, May 2013. I had just finished a cup of tea and I was washing my cup when my dad's friend's nephew walked into the kitchen. They were staying with us at the time. Next thing I know, he was grabbing me from behind and he was trying to drag me out of the kitchen to his bedroom. We were fighting and he dragged me all the way through the passage. I held on to doors, but he was just too strong. And this was not the first time it had happened. But I thought I would just fight him off easily like I used to do every other time. But this time it was different. And he was just there. His hands were everywhere. His fingers, he was just all over me, and it went on for a while and we were struggling, and I tried to push him off, but nothing worked. And I thought that I had done something to provoke him. People think that something must have happened for it to happen. But all that happened was I made a cup of tea in my own home.
If you found this hard to listen to, imagine how hard it was to say. That's why at Rape Crisis, we have a 24-hour crisis line with free counseling. So if you can't speak to anyone, speak to us at 021 447 9762. And if you want to help, donate now. Visit rapecrisis.org.za.
It was a Wednesday afternoon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Relatable Stories. I'm Angeline, your host. And today we are going to be talking about surviving sexual violence. The video I've just shown you is a video of our guest today, Miss Chipo Hwacha, my ride or die. And we are going to be trying to discuss how surviving sexual violence can affect our self-love. Those who are new to Relatable Stories is a show about cultivating self-love. And we try by all means to share our relatable stories so that throughout those journeys, we can be able to find areas of growth in our own lives. We may be able to share with other people in our lives that are going through the same traumas or the same situations. So I'm going to bring our guests on now. As you all know, this is a sensitive topic. So please bring your tissue because we might be doing a little crying, but it is very important for us to be able to have these hard conversations and to be able to reach those people that really need to hear what we have to say. Hello, Chipo. How are you?
Hi, Angeline. I am well. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm good. Hope you're good too.
I am. Welcome back. It's really nice to have you again. And I mean, this is something that is very dear to you, sharing your stories, uplifting sisters. I've already shared a bio of you, like people know you. You're the co-founder of Uplift the Sister, but there's other people that are new to the group. So maybe just tell them a little bit more about the dynamite that is you.
Well, before we get to that, I'm not sure if well, you can see me clearly. It seems the video is frozen on my end. Let me just try and leave and then join again. Is that fine?
Yes, you can do that. It's okay. You can do that now. Okay. Sandra, I see you. You're saying, I'm afraid to listen to this. My heart broke listening to that. Women cannot even be safe in their own home. Hugs, Chipo, for being strong enough to come and share your story. Thank you for that, Sandra. I totally hear you. It is heartbreaking that we have to deal with this, but thank you for the support. And Chipo is back.
All right, I am back.
Sandra's just giving you some love and encouraging you. Um, so
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you very much.
So Chipo, you were about to introduce yourself and tell us more about you a little more before we get into it.
Okay, so yes, I'm Chipo. I am the dynamite. And I am Sweet Chipo, as Angeline and Karen know me. I am just a very bubbly person. I am a social butterfly, a shy social butterfly. I don't know if that makes sense, but yes, that's what I am. I am currently doing. I'm currently doing criminology because through this whole journey, I found a passion in understanding crime and getting to know what makes people tick, what makes people commit these crimes. And when they commit these crimes, like before they commit these crimes, how can we stop them? What can we do to prevent these crimes from being committed? So I'm very passionate about that currently. I am, how old am I? I'm 27, right?
Yes.
I am. I'm 27 and 30 something by association. And yes, it's my birthday week.
Yay! We celebrate you, Chipo. You are a blessing to us. Thank you so much for sharing that about you. So, again, like I said, guys, this person is my person. So I'm a little biased, but as you can see, she's sweet and she's also funny. And so now let's get into the deeper stuff. Chipo, one thing how I wanted to introduce this is because I have a relationship with you, and I was friends with you for a while before I even knew that you were a survivor, and I it has been a struggle for me to have this conversation like a lot with you because I don't
Mm.
know, I'm still tiptoeing around it, and so I wanted us to talk about how, as a survivor, it's difficult for conversations to be had in a natural way, like in your own home with your friends. Because I know that when you told me you've already started your work as an ambassador for the rape crisis group, but it was still very difficult for you to talk to your friends and in other spaces. So tell me or tell us about that.
So firstly, I think one of the things that I've realized in this journey is that it's just as hard as the people that are around me, the friends, the family, the people that love me. This is just as hard on them as it is on me. But now, in terms of having open conversations about it, because there's always the stigma around it, and it's always a taboo to be talking about, I was raped or I was sexually assaulted. So, it's very intimate in a way, and there are some details that you feel, whew, if I had to say that to people, what would they think about me? And so it's quite difficult to just open up, even to the people you love. And in a way, you want them to initiate the conversations. You need them to initiate the conversation, but also you do understand that it is hard for them. And at some point, you'd be the one to have to initiate these conversations when you're good and ready, of course.
Okay. I mean, I just learned something just now, that there's secretly a part of you that wants your support system to initiate, to check in and see
Mm.
how you are faring. And does it ever end? Is it I think we're getting to the point where we want to know what happened, when, and all of that. But at this point, it's been a while. Do you feel that you are at a place where you've stopped wanting to talk about it a lot, or it's the same from when it happened till now?
Um, the thing is, the journey is it's up and down. It's a roller coaster, to be honest. So you get
Okay.
to a point where you feel okay, I can talk about it without getting emotional about it, and that, but it's still a part of you. It's still it still triggers some emotions in you. I was speaking to a friend actually earlier today, and she was saying, she was actually commenting on Uplift a Sister and the topic we have today, and she was just telling me that, today is it's like the 14th anniversary of her assault. It's been 14 years to the day. And, the emotions come back. The emotions come back. It doesn't matter. Today, you might feel confident enough to talk about it without being emotional. Tomorrow could be a different story altogether. So, because it's a part of you, it's a part of something that happened to you, and it can still bring back and trigger those emotions that happened or that you had when the incident happened. So, it's hard to say it ends because it's a journey that has no end, to be honest. But it's different, it evolves. There are times when some year you'd realize you go into depression about it. And so you deal with these emotions again, even though it has been so long. For me, it's been 9 years now, but still there are times where you look back and you're saying, wait, why did that even happen to me? So it's a journey that just evolves and it has different sides each time.
Okay. I'm so glad that we're having these conversations because we are opening up to other people that didn't know that it sometimes feels like it was just yesterday to you. And so we cannot just say we've had the conversation and that's that. And it's now at the back burner, especially around people that are your support system. You do always need that support, from what I can tell. And so if we are not going to be ready to have these uncomfortable topics, discussions and conversations, we are actually stopping or in the way of the healing of our survivors. I have comments. Okay, this is just some love to you, Chipo. So yeah, tell us what happened.
Yes. As I don't know if all of you had in the audio clip that Angeline played in the beginning. So yes, this was some time ago. I was actually on this day going to work in the afternoon. So like I said, we were staying with my dad's friend and his nephew. They had a bit of trouble, so they were staying with us. And so yeah, I don't know where to start. But okay, so on this day that it happened, it was not the first time.
Okay.
It was not the first time. It had happened several times before. But all these times I had just told myself, you know what, no one will believe you. Even if you say anything, I mean, who is going to believe you? I mean, those that know Chipo know that, Chipo is very liberal, even with her dressing. Chipo likes the short shorts and the skirts and the dresses. So that always, because you always hear about it when people say, what were you wearing? Where were you when it happened? What did you do? Did you provoke him? So I'd never said anything because I thought no one would believe it. Who would even believe me if I tell them this, So it just went on for some time. It would be like that. He'd try to grab me. He'd be touching me until I fight him off, and then it should end there. But on this day, it got worse. It got to that point where you never wanted to go. It got to that point where, it's just
Yeah. Take your time.
yeah. I don't have the words. I can't say the words right now. But he dragged me to his room, managed to on this day. I got to a point where I thought, give up fighting. The sooner you give up fighting, the sooner this will be over. And you can leave and go. So just, stop fighting it. But a part of me wouldn't. A part of me couldn't. There's that part of you that's just like, hey, no, man, this is not right. I can't.
Yeah.
And so I kept on fighting until I managed to leave that room. And the first thing I did afterwards was run into the bathroom, locked myself in there. He came after me, tried knocking on the bathroom door, tried to get me to open the door, tried to tell me, okay, let's talk about this. Let's discuss it. I was just crying. And in my mind now, the only thing I could hold on to was I have to get ready for work. I have to go to work. Life has to continue as normal. I took my shower, got ready for work, left. He had left at that point because I was in the bathroom for a while. He had left. I got to work, and I broke down. I got to work and I was literally shaking. There was a friend of mine who was there, and I'll forever be grateful for this to Precious, because she's the person who was there. And I literally just went into the bathroom and sat on the floor. Someone came to me and then I explained what had happened. And this was my limit, because it had gotten to that point where there is nothing more after this, Chipo. This has happened. My body couldn't take it. My mind couldn't take it. My emotions couldn't. I just broke down completely and I was just done. I had been fighting for so long. I had been going through this for so long. And at this point, I really just broke. Something broke in me and I just couldn't keep it together anymore. So that's when the journey of, my healing started, because after that he got arrested. Um, he got arrested. We'll talk about the criminal justice system on another day, because that was a whole journey on its own. But it was in a way, because I was quite young. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have anyone to guide me through this. I didn't get the support that I needed, even from the criminal justice system. So even though I went through all that, in hindsight, when I look back at it now, I actually did not get the justice that I deserved or that I needed. But that's when also I got introduced to Rape Crisis, and I started my counseling and truly just healing, I guess.
Chipo, that was hard to hear, to listen to, but you are so brave, and we thank you for sharing your story. I actually heard a few things that I think maybe even the guys in the audience need to look and think about. That sometimes we just don't understand what assault is, or we do, but we feel that it's not that big a deal. And Chipo, when you were assaulted the first few times, because it didn't get to the point where it went the last time, you were yes, worried about what people not believing you. But I have a feeling that sometimes, because it doesn't get to maybe actual did, sometimes yeah sometimes you take it for granted that someone has just grabbed your boob. Someone just Sometimes I know of a story of somebody who says on the train someone was jerking off, and little things like that are assault, and they take away from a person's self esteem, and they do a lot of things. And yes, but we don't report these things. We don't tell somebody else these things because it seems or sounds or feels small, but then those are the kind of things that then culminate to the actual assault, to the violence that then happens where maybe sometimes you're raped over and over again. And I feel that you breaking down was not even because of this particular date, was because of all the other times that you had not spoken about it and you felt the release when you were able to actually then just speak about it. I just want to go to the comment section and hear what everyone is saying in terms of what you just shared. I feel you on no one will believe you, especially when the society already views you in a certain way. Akangwarisa anemskanzwa etc. And this is like people's general opinions of you and how you present. And if you're authentic, if you are expressive, sometimes people can judge you. And I think that is something that we have to work on as sisters here. I don't know if you want to comment, Chipo, but I feel that we tear each other down before things happen, and we make it harder for ourselves to then be able to share or approach each other when things fall apart.
That is very true, honestly. There's a bit of an echo. I'm not sure if you can also hear it on your end.
Yes, but it's a bit of an echo. I think it might be like two devices on at the same time. But it's gone now.
Fine. Okay, cool. So yes, as women, as sisters, we've had this tendency of judging each other. We are very judgmental beings. And because of that, we don't now feel comfortable sharing our stories or our ordeals or asking for help. Because imagine if in my mind I'm thinking, hey, Angeline, with those tight jeans that she's wearing and she's busy walking around swinging her hips trying to attract all the men, when now something happens to me, I'm going to think, are people going to be thinking that because I do this, then this is what? Because already when you have this judgmental thoughts, it actually stops you as well from opening up to people, because you feel you're going to be judged based on how you judge others. And knowing also that society does judge us based on certain things, I went through that. I was asked those questions. Are you sure you did not do something to provoke him?
Yeah.
That question exactly was asked to me after this whole thing had been reported. So even after there had been evidence, even after he had admitted,
right,
someone still felt, you must have done something. This cannot just happen to you. How can that just happen? You did something to provoke him. So it's very hard in society. It's hard.
It's very hard because at the end of the day, also, if you look at it, the perpetrators, there's people that are always going to want to protect them. There's people that are looking at it from the point of view of, now, if they are convicted, their life is ended, and we love them so much, we don't want them to go to jail. And it takes away from the fact that they have violated someone in such a way that this is the justice that needs to be served so that other people can learn from them as an example. But we try so hard in society to have a balance, and this cannot be a balanced scale when someone has made a choice to violate someone. And I don't know if you felt this during your ordeal and the time that when you went to report, that maybe even your support system or even the courts were trying to make a case for the perpetrator more than they were seeing the gravity of the ordeal or of the crime.
So when you look back, because during that time, to be honest, I was literally just going through the motions. I was not thinking about anything. I was just, okay, this is the next step. Let's do it. Next, what's next? So I didn't even realize that I went through secondary victimization. I didn't even realize that there was victim blaming in all of that. So all that gives the perpetrator strength, So instead of helping the victim, we are strengthening the perpetrator, because in a way we are siding with the perpetrator when we are asking, where were you? What were you wearing? What were you doing at this time? So because in our minds we we are trying to sort of make it understandable to us, make it lesser than it is, and accepting that this person has been violated without them doing anything wrong is just too much. It's too much to admit that society is so broken to that extent. So we try to hold on to this person must have done something, because we cannot fathom the idea that, society is broken in a way.
Right. Whew, yeah, that is twisted, and it's basically us trying to not feel the pain of our own children or brothers being such people, and so we don't want to deal with it, and we have to come to a place where we are saying it's uncomfortable and it's painful, but at the end of the day, a crime has been committed, and we must give it yes, of course, the justice system has to prove whatever they have to prove, but they can't ask questions that strengthen the perpetrator, like you put it, because this is, if they then end up getting off scot-free, what's to stop them from doing it again when they know, in fact, they can even build their case that way, where there's going to be loopholes to point that, well, she must have wanted it also.
Definitely.
So yeah, there's one person sending hugs. Thank you very much. I also want
Hugs
to
received.
Sandra says the fact that women have to worry and ask themselves if they did something to provoke an attack shows there's a problem with our society 100%. We need
Definitely.
So we totally need to address these things, and we cannot keep quiet about it. And so I feel that there's a lot of stories that haven't been said out there. And us just listening to Chipo right now, one of our sisters, is just one person who has been brave. Most of the people that have been assaulted are quiet. Some of them are feeling it's too small. Some of them are just afraid of the victimization and the stigma that comes with it, because it is real, guys. And I wanted to touch on that. When we talk of stigma, who's stigmatizing? How does that look like for you as a survivor? Who is making you feel like you should have just kept quiet? What are they saying, and what can we do better?
So the silence in itself speaks volumes. Like, it's when you decide to speak about it, there's just silence. There is, because there's that stigma. So no one could be saying anything because they don't want to speak about this topic. They don't want you to open up about it. They do not want to hear it, because it's very hard to hear it. And once you've heard it, you can't unhear it. You now just have to feel it, and the emotions. And so, because, like I said, the perpetrator right now has a whole lot of power that we as society has given it. So sometimes the stigma even comes from survivors themselves, because it's very natural and easy to go into that instead of facing the fact that you have been victimized, you have been assaulted. So it's easier to say, you know what, if someone is saying, I've gone through the same thing, and you can shut them down and tell them, no, that's not it. Or who did you want it to happen to then? Or why were you even walking around in the dark? But then we forget that there are babies that are also being raped. There are 80-year-old grandmothers being raped. Can we ask a baby, why were you crawling in the passage in the first place in your pump? Don't you know better?
Yeah.
So all these things that and it started way back, with families always trying to keep it quiet. When it has happened in the family, you can't speak about it. You can't shame the family. We will deal with it as a family. So already this is something that it's just been embedded in us. We there's there's negative vibes or negative emotions or feelings that are attached to the issue of sexual violence. When you try and speak about it, then you are met with negativity. It's not always easy to break that barrier. It doesn't come easily. I don't know if that answers your question. I tend to go on and on and on.
No, we like that. That's fine. It does actually answer my question. It brought light to a few points. For example, the internalized oppression that I've been hearing in almost every story now, where, like you said, if a survivor doesn't then get the justice they want, they probably start to also as help with the stigma around speaking out, because they they feel that doesn't change anything. So why are you whiny, or all of that? And we are creating this as a society because we are failing the victims when they come to court, when they actually dare to speak out. And then secondly, the silence. I didn't look at it that way, but us not checking in on someone who's been hurt is almost like saying, we know you've got a wound, you've been shot 3 times in the heart, and you're in intensive care, but we're just not coming because it's too hard to look at.
Yeah.
And so you're not visiting this patient, and they're feeling alone, and therefore they feel like I must have done something wrong. So people are not happy with me telling them that I was shot. So, and
Yeah.
on the other hand, as family or as friends, we are tiptoeing because we also don't want to deal with the pain of having to hear your pain. Because unfortunately, I like being short. Um, that pain sometimes is, I mean, for me, it's like as if it's happened to me, because I wouldn't want to hear my child or my family talking about such things. So now we, just by being silent and not checking in on our person, is also actually putting flames to stigma. And I hadn't looked at it that way. I don't know what you guys have seen in your lives around you, but also it's true that as families also, we now don't want to talk about it because we are like, it's our brother, or it's our uncle. We don't want everyone else to know, so let's keep it in the family. And by so doing, yes, you're protecting the family or the perpetrator, but what are you saying to the person who's come forth and said, this person violated me? I mean, at some point you hate that person. So you're like, why are you protecting this person that did this to me? And that, so maybe I shouldn't have said it. You actually don't like the fact that I came out and said it. And so I mustn't even talk about it again. Uh, I want to hear what everyone else is saying, because I also tend to go on, you know me. Yeah, man, it's a difficult and broad topic, but we are getting the information that we need. Hugs, my love. Such a violation in your own home. The community and the police even ask these invasive, offensive, wrong questions. What were you wearing? What were you doing? Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you say anything? It's like the woman is at fault. Makes me so upset. Can we raise boys and men who respect women? Amen to this. Amen.
Amen.
Or any comments?
I hear this because, like I had to go through those questions. I had to, when you have to recite this, my experience at the police station. Let me just give, insight on that. I had to tell this story, or rather, and this is the day that it had happened, right? I'm now at the police station. At the hospital, they said to me, you have showered, there's nothing more we can do for you. Go to the police station. I went to the police station. I spoke to 3 people where I had to tell this to explain 3 times to 3 different people about what happened. The same thing. The same thing over and over and over again. And from my understanding, the police are supposed to offer you counseling first. Get to see where your mind is at. I didn't get that.
Right.
So now you're getting these questions. You're being asked all these things. Okay, what were you doing? And these are 3 different people. And they are coming with different emotions, different personalities when approaching this. So already I was scared. I was afraid. At first, in my mind, I'm thinking, what are my parents going to say?
You're being
When,
interrogated.
when they hear this, what are they going to say about me? So a part of me is now feeling ashamed, even.
Yeah.
There's this shame that was just there to say, if I disappointed my family, and I have done nothing wrong in all this, but because
Right.
of all those questions, I'm starting to feel like maybe I have done something wrong. Am I sure? Am I sure about what I'm saying? So
Do I really want to go on and tell the story?
do
Do
I
you
want?
change?
At some point during my case, when I was waiting for a court date, I actually called the investigating officer and I was saying, you know what, I'm done. I don't want. I'm withdrawing everything. I do not want to do this anymore. I'm not doing it. And then he said to me, oh, no, no, because now it's the state case, we've subpoenaed you. Technically, you can't. So we're going on with it. And getting to the court and being given my statement, it's very explicit when you have
Yeah.
to read things like vagina, penetration, penis. And they give you this statement and they say, okay, you're supposed to say exactly what is written here, exactly as you stated when we took your statement in front of the judge, in front of my parents who were at the court. And I'm just thinking, Lord, kill me now. How am I going to even say these things? So,
Right.
yeah,
When
like the
people get
Facebook user,
insensitive.
it gets, but on one end, you understand that they need to get the facts, right? They need
Yes.
to get exactly what happened. But also on the other end, it's just, whew, hi guys.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
the journey. I do understand that there has to be a balance with the sensitivity here, because the kind
yeah,
of questioning that is happening can't continue 3 times. Like, can they create a position where you only have to do it once, maybe, because considering that you are going through trauma, and these questions is as this person is saying, why didn't you scream? For example, I'm not a screamer generally, even if it's not assault. I just don't scream. Why would you ask me why I don't scream? I don't know. And if I don't have an answer to
exactly.
that, does that then make my case null and void?
And
And
sometimes
why
you're
did I
just
say
so traumatized, like your voice just
exactly?
doesn't come out, or you freeze because you're so shocked and you can't act. So
Exactly.
yeah,
It's like they're not taking into account the psychology that comes with the trauma, because what we have reported is not something that is in your control. You are being asked to defend yourself after you've just gone through an ordeal where you couldn't defend yourself because
defend
someone
yourself.
overpowered yourself. So now they overpowered you. Now it's almost like the justice system is trying to also rape you, if you think about it in your mind,
Yes, in a
because
way, yeah.
I was a victim just then. I couldn't defend myself. And now you're asking me to defend myself or not being
Defend
able to
myself.
defend myself. We need to really check ourselves, guys. If you're part of the problem in terms of stigma, looking at people differently because you knew them as a girl that was wearing short shorts or walking around at night or even whatever, because I mean, anyone can get raped, even prostitutes can get raped. It's not okay for someone to violate anyone or assault anyone, because that's, I mean, you have to give consent if you want your body to be touched. Um,
Exactly.
so let's all get upset and let's start using that energy to promote, to encourage speaking out, and also to stop those people that are stigmatizing the victims, because
Mm-hmm.
they need our support. Another person is saying some families even make payment arrangements with the perpetrator. Our society really needs help. Wow, guys, that is shocking. I don't know about this. Do you know anything about payment arrangements? Is this to say perpetrator must pay so that we keep quiet, and therefore, when they've paid, the victim can never say it again?
I've heard about it. Yes. For me, it's not very shocking because I've heard about it where the perpetrator will offer to say, you know what, I will pay you. I will give you money. Just make sure your child or your relative does not say anything, and I will make sure you are all taken care of. Or even threats to say, you know what, try it. You are going to lose everything that you've worked for because I have connections. So, and then our families accept this. And I think to an extent also because the criminal justice system takes so long with these cases. It takes so long. It's like the journey is long. And so sometimes, because you've heard someone who never got justice, and now you're thinking, if we just go to the police, this person is just going to go through with what they're saying, or it's just better to take the money and avoid the shame, because there's also that shame that people attach to being sexually violated. They're like, what do people say? Each that family manawavo was assaulted. You're just thinking, people will give you the stinky eye, people will look at you differently. So you're thinking, let's avoid the shame, right? Let's just
But
get the
Chipo,
money, keep quiet, avoid the shame.
but Chibo, why would people look sideways at a family that has a child who was assaulted? Shouldn't they be feeling sorry for them instead? For me, I know that is exactly what's happening, but I don't understand the logic there where it's like, are we saying because their child was assaulted, it means their child was wayward and their child did something to provoke. So it's generally the society is saying if you're assaulted, it's the victim's fault. There's no two ways about it.
In a way, yes, society is saying that, right? Even though they will not voice it, but that's what's being said with this, with shaming the family or looking at them differently, because then it comes to like what I was saying. They think, Chipo, maybe she's a dancer, or she's a musician, or she wears short shorts. So when this happens, then now society will look at the family saying, you see, vaitadza kuraira mwana wavo. If only they had done
Yeah.
this and this and this and that, this would never have happened. And the family as well, because they are also in a way not accepting what has happened, they will also feel this shame. You understand? Like, it's not just coming from society. It's not like society is the only pressure point, or they're the only ones applying the pressure. Them, the family, because they are being judgmental and not looking at it holistically or with an open mind. They are thinking these things. They're not going to say it because they're family, but they are thinking them. That's why they affect them so much to the point where they're like, let's avoid shame.
I see.
Because if you believe, Kuti, our child didn't do this, if you believe that this person is not at fault, we need to stand with them, you won't feel the shame that you think is attached to sexual violence. All right.
That is deep, profound, guys. If you've been part of that situation, I think it might happen unconsciously, but you feeling shame, I see it and I can understand it now. Actually, is saying that you believe what is being said, and probably because you've judged somebody else before, but also because you're not really taking the situation as it really is, which is this person is a victim. They, even if they were wearing anything that was short, or they're a dancer, they're a prostitute even, it's still wrong. And so we must stand for justice, and everyone must be on the side of the person who was violated. Um, there's another comment here. There's an actual court case where the survivor had been raped multiple times, and the magistrate male asked her, why does she keep getting raped? Wow. Okay. So this keeps getting worse and worse, because
Mm-hmm.
you know these people that are supposed to be helping us are not believing us, and I feel like these are the people that become the magistrates are people that grew up seeing rape victims being treated this way. So we can't expect them to miraculously change their opinions and their view of this when they become the judges or the magistrates. So it means that we really have to do some work, especially when we're raising men, or raise, in fact, where we're just um, raising our children, because we have to instill the value of self-worth. We have to also teach them what is right and wrong, and how to deal with things that, in fact, we have to continue to stop having taboo topics. Everything should be open, and everyone should be able to stand with what they believe in, and not sugarcoat things, because other people don't even know why they believe in the things that they believe. I'm really
And
just right now shocked.
And what you're saying about we need to start from the grassroots, teaching these our children, because for as long as I can remember, being young, I was always told, don't play with boys. Don't let boys close to you. Don't let boys touch you or you'll get pregnant. Don't let boys touch your breasts. Don't let boys do this to you. Avoid boys in this situation. Avoid hanging out with boys. But have we ever had lessons where we say to boys, do not touch girls or you're going to prison? Do not touch a girl if she doesn't want. It's like there's lessons on how girls should protect themselves, avoid these situations. But the people we are running away from or trying to avoid, they don't know that they are being avoided because, they have not been taught not to do these things, that these things are not okay. We are not teaching consent. So this whole thing of, let's not talk about this to kids and let's not talk about this to primary school children. Let's be open about what rape and sexual assault is. If you know your girl, if it would be in primary school, if you know your boy, let's have, when they have those life orientation or I don't know, life skills lessons at school, talk about it openly. Do not touch someone when they do not want to be touched. If someone touches you and you don't want to, go and report. It might just be on your face, but if you don't want it, if you're not comfortable with it, say no and go and report and say, this person has touched me inappropriately. It made me uncomfortable. I did not want it. And then something must be done to that person. You shouldn't just then say, oh, okay, next time, don't talk to them. Don't go near them. No, let's be strict about it. Boys, okay, our young sons, don't do it. It's not allowed. You are going to prison if you do that. If you touch someone inappropriately, this person has a right to go to the police and say, you have touched me where I did not want to be touched. So this we need to be explicit about it.
Yeah, and I'm echoing you there where you were saying girls are told don't talk to boys because you become pregnant and it's wrong. And I see a problem in that because when you then talk to boys, which is natural. I mean, you go to school with them and you've got feelings and things like this. People are saying that, but it's not realistic for you to not talk to boys, guys. So when you do talk to boys and then they assault you, you feel like you can't say it because I know I wasn't
You were told
supposed
not
to talk
to.
to boys. So the assault now becomes secondary. What's primary is I broke the rule because I talk to boys, therefore it's my fault. And I feel like that is a wrong approach. And yes, we're trying to protect our girls, but if we are not explaining understand the real issue around talking to boys, and the issue is not actually talking to boys, it's assault, it's getting pregnant, teenage pregnancy, and all of that. Address that. Don't come here and say, don't talk to boys and not talk to me about sexual assault and not talk to me about teenage pregnancy and unwanted pregnancies, etc. So I think you are right there. We need to change the way that we are trying to help our children to be safe, because it's actually worsening the situation, and people are then now feeling shame because they just talk to boys, and so they can't. Oh, it goes deeper, like you said, grassroots. Let's start there. As young mothers, as single people that are going to be mothers, as sisters, brothers, let's do something. Another comment here says African context of kutaurirana kuripa has encouraged silence. Having conversations like these is what will change the mindset of young generation. Girl child may be protected. Girl child may you be protected. Yes, 100%. We need to start having this conversation. So let's share these topics, these videos. Let's start in our families, because we all have people that have been assaulted. And yes, it doesn't have to be what has been reported. Sometimes, like I said, someone has just touched me inappropriately. I don't like it. I didn't like it. Let's give that the time that it deserves, the attention that it deserves. We can't just say, oh, this was just him touching your breast. It didn't go all the way, so it's not.
It doesn't mean anything.
because that's how we then let these things go on. I think there's another comment here from Sandra. As far as families hiding sexual violence or coming to some sort of agreement with perpetrators, I think it's time our justice system started punishing those who cover these crimes. Amen.
Yes.
Parents, guardians, etc. need to be charged as accessories after the fact. This could go a long way in people realizing the gravity of their acts when they force women to stay silent because we have to keep the issue in the family. Amen. Amen. I can't even add anything to that. I think that as friends, as family, we are part of the problem and we have to be made accountable. If we are not being made accountable, we are still going to have this issue because internal oppression is very real, and people that are supposed to be protecting us are part of the problem sometimes. And even with the raising a perpetrator, they might have started at a young age where it was just let go when they used to touch girls inappropriately, and no one gave it the attention that it needed, right?
True.
So I have to agree with everything that Sandra said. She goes on to say, statistically, more women are victims of rape, but we also have to keep in mind boys can also be victims. So in talking about sexual violence abuse, we have to remember this. In Zim law, we do not even include males in our definition of rape. Instead, that these cases are persecuted under a lesser definition of sexual assault, if I'm not mistaken. So who will protect our sons or brothers if the law doesn't even have them as being possible victims of crime? Whew. There's a lot of things that we're learning today. And Chipo, I don't know what's been your experience. Have you ever had any talk of male rape crisis? Is there anything that you can teach us or let us know about that side of the story?
So yes, I have. We have sort of heard about it, and it has been spoken about. Where even though it's an organization that's been mostly helping women, they have now included men because I think they have seen that usually because I guess like Sandra said, based on statistics, women are mostly victims of rape, right? But when you then look at the LGBTQI community, where there is corrective rape that happens, both males and females. And so this is now something that has come to the forefront and something that is getting more attention than before.
Okay. So guys, let's just be aware as we talk of rape, let's not just think women. Let's also talk to our boys about them not being touched inappropriately by other males, because with the LGBTQI
Aye.
I
think there's another letter there, but
Karen, tell us. But the thing is, because we are also very much wanting to be ignorant about the fact that there is people that are gay out there, and those people have to be shamed and stigmatized. Them being stigmatized can lead them to be rapists. They will rape your young boys and all of that. It's part of the reasons why these rape. Also, Karen gave us an A there. QA. Anyway,
we will you will educate us later, Karen.
So yes, I'm like, yes, we need to be cognizant of all these issues and be aware and teach our boys as well that they too can be touched inappropriately. And these are the ways that they could be touched, and we can't sugarcoat it because it is what it is, and they also need the protection. And you have a question here from the audience. Was it easy to tell your mom?
No, it wasn't. And to be honest, I never told my mom. My mom only found out through the police. My parents, my family, they found out through the police. That's how they found out. But I never had the courage to open up and say, this is what has happened to me. I just, like I said, because of all the emotions, I was ashamed. I felt, what have I done? I felt, whew, Chipo, you have now gone and done it. Based also on, previous issues that I had, it was not easy for me to open up and have that conversation with my mom. So no, I never actually told her. It was not easy. My family only found out through the police.
I think this is maybe probably a lot of people's stories where probably telling your own parents is even harder. And I think that for me, what I learned from that is that the relationship between parents and their children has to be so open in that the child feels comfortable to share. And I think maybe in our African culture, the way we are disciplined when things go wrong sometimes is part of the problem, because it sort of makes, it's almost like they threaten you as parents.
Yeah.
That if anything else ever happens, and so when you say anything else, you are saying
It's
even
broad. It's like
even if
anything.
it's rape, I don't want to know, because you're really just messing up. But in the context that you'll be talking about, maybe it's just you were out late, So I feel like parenting, I mean, it's hard, I know this. So as we are becoming more and more self-aware, I think we should just be very aware of how we are disciplining our children and allowing them to know that whenever we do discipline, we are not saying we do not want to ever hear anything. If they make a mistake, they should be comfortable to still come back and say, mommy, this is what happened. Yeah, it must have been very hard not to be able to tell your own parents. And
Yeah.
I feel that even though they had later, it's better that you were able to speak out, because there are some people that don't even speak out forever and have to live with this issue. So how was their reaction if when they had to hear it from the police, and all of that?
Um, hmm, you know, this was a crazy day, I tell you, because the night I was at the police station the whole time, and now my mom was looking for me,
Yeah.
and I just told her I'm at the police station. So she doesn't know why I'm at the police station. What am I doing there? It's the dark outside. It's after 7 in the evening. And so I just said to her, I'm coming with the police. They will tell you what's going on. So when we got there, she was hurt. She was angry. She as a mother, it's not something you want to know that this happened to your daughter, this happened to your child. The police had to hold her back because she wanted to attack this person. So this broke her too. As much as it broke me, it also really broke her too, because she felt, in a certain extent, I couldn't protect my child.
Yes.
I failed
I
my child.
I asked you because I actually felt that probably could be some another way that makes things harder for healing to happen, because as you're told about your child being victim violated, sometimes maybe you don't even see it, but you start to deal with your own trauma around hearing it, and that could deter the healing of the child. And so if we're not talking about it and making people aware that if it ever happens to you, this is what you'll have to deal with, chances are we will, as a victim and as the support, we will deal with this issue separately in silos, as opposed to doing it together and sharing and talking about it in the house and sharing our feelings. And
Definitely.
yeah, so for the people that are learning from your experience, I think it would be something very important to watch out for those kind of reactions, because yes, of course, you'll be traumatized as a parent, but you cannot then forget that the victim still needs your support currently. And yes, it might feel like you let them down, but in all honesty, when there's a perpetrator, the responsibility is just on that person. It can't be on the mother, it can't be on the victim. Um, I'm going to push this discussion further, because we still haven't talked about your decision to speak out. what you would want to say in terms of speaking out and encouraging other girls, but I want to just go quickly through the comments and then let you do that. There are families who know their father, uncle is a rapist, but Hashitawu rape because it brings shame to the family, and so rapists are protected. Yes, yes, yes. And so I think we just echo what Sandra has said, that the justice system, if we are ever going to be able to get that out there, the petitions out there, we have to say the people that are covering up these crimes are also supposed to be treated as perpetrators, because they are really a big part of the problem. Because whether it's your uncle, your dad, anyone, if they have committed a crime, we cannot protect them. Otherwise, we are saying we are taking away from the crime itself, and there's no point in putting the law up if we're not going to help hold the people that commit the crime, break the law, accountable for it. And then Oprah hosted a show where Tyler Perry opened up about being sexually abused as a child. There were more than 20 men who spoke out, and that episode was heartbreaking. I'm guilty of not thinking about boys or men when it comes to rape. It's wild. It's a wild world we live in. Yeah, I honestly, to be honest as well, I haven't also been thinking of it that much. It's good that we are owning up to it, and we need to be able to recognize it. And when we raise our children, boys and girls, explain to them that these things do happen. And Josie, don't worry. We recorded the session for you. You can always catch up and comment later. We are happy that you are here. Someone here is saying, can we normalize murdering? Okay. That's a topic for another day. I think it's a whole topic. We have to talk about the criminal justice, Chipo, you said. We'll do some research and see what can be done there. But in our heads, I'm sure we've all measured them, because this is so not okay.
We have.
So Sandra is echoing, I think death is too good. I'd say let's castrate.
I actually agree with Sandra. I was actually saying it the other day to say, you know what, guys, this is simple. Just chop it off. Like, it's fine. You don't need, clearly, you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to use it. So don't think you need it.
Then what happens to the women then? Like the women that are raping?
We can sew it shut, put super glue.
Okay. So Chipo, tell us about your feelings throughout the journey. I wanted to talk about that first before you close the speaking out. Because you said it's a roller coaster of emotions from when it happens and all of that. But it's good for us to understand where you are at. Or for me, like I'm using this platform to get into your head so that I know how to support you. Thank you very much. Tell us about just generally what sort of feelings are they? Because I know the shame one, but at this point, I would think that probably you're over that, but this is an assumption. So I wanted to know what kind of feelings are going on with you from the time it happens to like 14 years later as you're healing. Because remember, sorry, I want to just add on there, because we're talking about the self-love journey, and then so there's a lot of feelings around that.
So yeah, I was actually thinking in my mind we probably need to do a part 2 so we can go deep into the survival journey. So at first it was anger, it was shame, it was I was judging myself, and then self-pity even. But through my journey of speaking out, I'm really glad I managed to do that, because through that's when I learned to, or got to a point where I accepted my story. I accepted it had happened. It's very important to accept it. It has happened, and I accepted it, that, this is what happened to me.
Right.
But even though this happened to me, I can't let it have power over me anymore. I need to take back my story. I need to take back my power. I need to own my story. I need to make it my own because this happened to me and I would not wish it to happen to anybody else. God probably had a reason why he allowed this to happen to me. And now I need to find that reason, that purpose behind going through something like this. So that's when my actual healing journey started. And, now the emotions are not, yes, they still anger. Someone violated me. They still anger. They took something that was not theirs to take.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's all mostly now positive in that, like I said, I'm owning it. I own the story. Nobody else has power in this story except me. I took that power back and I decided, this is what happened. I accept it and this is how I'm going to deal with it going forward. I'm going to use it to propel me to, encourage other girls to someone they can look up to, other survivors or other victims that are not yet survivors that want to be at a point where I'm at peace with what happened, how they can get there, what the picture looks like or the other end. Sometimes when you're down there at the bottom, you don't think you're going to make it. You don't think you're going to be able to sit here and have a conversation with Angeline and everyone about, you don't think you're going to be on TV or national television telling people that this happened to you. You don't think that. So being the picture of this is the survival journey, this is where you end up at. It doesn't break you. If you don't allow it, it won't break you. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm basically, like I said, it's still an ongoing journey. There are days where you just go into depression mode and you're like, God, why? Can we have a conversation about why? I know I'm never going to know why, but there are days where you just feel down and low and you're all in your emotions. But mostly I'm here saying, you know what, guys, you can go through it, you can still come out, and there is no picture or poster you walk around with saying, oh, I'm a survivor, or I was raped, I was violated. It doesn't say so on your face. You don't have to look a certain way. You can be glowing and all up there and, successful. And when people say, when I had an experience when I spoke out and someone said to me, oh, you'd never think that you went through that, hey?
How would you know?
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's written on my forehead.
Yeah.
So you get to that point where it doesn't have to show on your person until you decide to speak about it. So yeah.
Yeah. But did you ever feel like you had to change the way you dress? Did you ever feel like you had to cover up a lot? Or I mean, did you have any self-esteem issues that came with that? Because I know it's not everyone's story like that, because I see that you were very brave, like very strong woman, Chipo, because you were able to own your story and to a point where you can share it with everyone on TV even. So I see that you are confident, but is there any internal struggles that ever happened, or do you think people go through that?
Definitely, people go through that. When it comes to changing my dressing, you know me, Angelique, that will not happen. No matter what. In that department, I'm rather stubborn. But I did go through a point where, yes, I had self-esteem issues because just after it happened, my then boyfriend dumped me. So, yeah, you
Was it
can
because
imagine.
of that issue, or was it something unrelated?
It was unrelated, but because it was in this season, for
Okay.
me, it felt like this is the reason behind it.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know. I think it was for other reasons, but in that moment, for me, in that season, it really felt like, that's the reason why he left you. You are now broken. You are unworthy. You are unclean. My friend, I don't know if you're gonna get married because you are tainted. Like, that's how I felt at that point, because I was thinking, I wonder if I ever tell a guy that I went through this, would they even look at me the same? Would they still respect me? You know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a whole journey on its own. And people do go through that to a point where, with some people, they even go through a series of being overly sexually active with multiple partners, because you want to take back that feeling. You don't understand it, but something has been taken from you. So now you want to get it back. You think by engaging in sex with all these people, you are trying to gain back that power that was taken from you. So it affects people differently. And definitely there's like emotional struggles, there's depression, there is self-loathing. It is a very difficult journey, I guess.
Okay. So lastly, tell us about your decision to speak out. And I know that obviously you're trying to show people you've sort of answered the question when you're talking about feelings, but at the same time there's the fact that you're now actually speaking out. And so I don't know about that thought where you're like, will my next boyfriend understand this? Am I going to be still the same? The decision to speak out, does that I feel it must be very difficult, because just like for me to accept that I was a divorced person and then say it out loud, and I was worried about, well, there's men that don't like divorced women that say X on that. So tell us about that journey and your encouragement to whoever is struggling with making the decision to speak out. What are the advantages? What is it that you've learned from it? And what is it that you would like us to look out for? So I'm going to give you the floor to end this session. Thank you so much for even coming and sharing your story. I know I've said it. I can't say it enough. I'm really proud of you for standing up for yourself and taking back the power. You are a warrior girl. So I'll give you the floor and you can close.
Okay. So yes, thank you for having me. And I am going to come back again with this surviving sexual assault, because I feel like we've just scratched the surface. But my decision to speak out, to be honest, now when I look back at it, I was, I've never accepted it. And this is the first time I'm saying it out loud. I am a strong woman. I have been very strong, because when I made the decision to speak out, to be honest, I did not think about anything else. I did not think about anybody else, because at that moment, I was thinking about my healing. I was thinking, you know, this happened to me, and I now want to heal from it. How do I do that? And when I was given the opportunity to speak out and share my story, and in my mind, I was thinking, I don't want any other girl to go through this. So I am definitely going to go and speak out, and I'm going to encourage girls to talk about it, to report when this happens, to not let it get to the point where it got with me. Well, after speaking out for a while, then I got to a point where I was like, oops, what have I done? Well, now if I want to get married, will my partner be okay with it? But then I quickly recovered from that, because I thought, I've made a decision and I'm sticking to that decision. I am owning my story. And part of owning my story is telling it and living it. My partner is going to come, and God knows when my partner is there. My partner is supportive, guys. He knows it. And so God gave me a partner that's understanding already. And the first thing I even told him when I met him was, I speak out. This happened to me and I speak about it. Go Google my name, go read the newspaper. You're probably going to find me there. So I'm going to be open and honest about this. And if it's something you're not comfortable with, I honestly understand. So, oh, sorry, something popped up here. Please tell us what to do if a man sexually assaulted a woman. I now know the not showering part. What else must we do? Okay, sorry. So I'll continue with the speaking out journey. Just to answer the Facebook user's question on what to do. So collect evidence. Whatever the person was wearing, or whatever you were wearing when you were sexually assaulted or when you're raped, take that, do not put it in plastic, put it in a newspaper, because apparently plastic tampers with the evidence. Wrap it in a newspaper, and then take it to the nearest either police station or hospital, so that it can be used as evidence within like 72 hours of the incident happening. So take it with you. And if you don't shower, obviously, yes. If you have any bruises or anything, you can also take images of that can be used as evidence. But definitely just go and report. Go to a clinic, go to a hospital, tell them what has happened so they can do a rape kit on you. I know here in South Africa, rape crisis centers, they're called Tutuzela care centers, where you can go, they will do the rape kit for you, collect all the evidence that can then be used. I don't know if that answers the question for the Facebook user. But okay. So yes, I was saying about speaking out. This was a decision that I made, and I'm sticking to it, guys. It has been very liberating for me. It actually helped me to heal, because the more I spoke about my story and all those emotions coming out every time I would open up and speak about it, the more I also got healing, the more I released the bitterness, and the more I was able to forgive the perpetrator. Not forgive him for him, but forgive him so that I could heal. When I had stories about, your body, if you don't release the stress, if you don't release the trauma, your body will remember you had a trauma, and then it will start affecting you. So I made the decision to speak out, and I would encourage you to also speak out. It doesn't have to be on national television or in front of a crowd, but speak to a friend, tell someone, just tell somebody, just speak to anyone. And you can, if you want to know more, if you want to share your story as well, just to have someone know what happened to you, you can speak to me. Reach out to me. I am very open to speak about this. I am very open to share advice and to direct you to where you can get proper help, even if it's for somebody else that you want to, or if you just want to know more about my journey. I am open to it. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here and for participating and listening to my story. I hope this has made an impact in your lives. And yes, thank you very much, Sandra. Yes, this has been an interesting journey, and I'll definitely be back with part 2, Angeline, whether you like it or not. So thank you so much, guys, and good night. Have a good evening and have a very productive week ahead.